So we go get us some
Stop at the yellow line.
Welcome aboard, everybody. So all the members come down if you don't know that
What?
It's about everything we need.
we get on
Did you do the Navi journey that we did this morning?
No, that was not yet. Oh, that was yet.
Yes, our bus. Right? Yes. Yay. This is our bus now. Alright guys, we are currently with my screen.
Alright, you gotta squeeze in.
Squeeze!
Do you want to sit over here so you can see the animals?
Sure.
Okay.
Mom, it's a
Alright, friends, you have to go sleep 6 day. Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Welcome aboard. My name is Jackie. I'll be driving you guys on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. Now, before we make our way out onto the reserve, I do have a couple quick things that I need.
Don't drop it.
First things first, if you have any personal items with you that you really like and you want to continue to own, make sure you hold on to those things tightly. Anything that happens to get lost on the side of this truck, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go back and get for you. Remember to keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. We'll be making our way through some thick brush. The bushes do have very long thorns on them. Right above your head is an animal spotting
Hang on, that's why
That's
you
there
need
to help
to
you
keep it in
identify
here.
some of the animals as they make their way through the disease. There's a really good chance we're not going to see every single animal that lives in the migration patterns, but we usually have some pretty good luck, so keep your eyes peeled and have those cameras out and ready. If your camera happens to have an action or a sports setting that you can put onto it, anything that can take pictures while you're still moving, that's going to be very helpful for you while you're out on the reserve today. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stop for animals if they get too close to the truck. And when I can stop, it's only in certain areas and for a very short period of time. So, having your cameras out and ready will help you get some nice still photos of the animals here today. We're just waiting for clearance from the warden to head into the reserve. It looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam already. We'll get out there in 2 shakes of a cheetah's tail, so just hang tight.
Now I'm here on the Wildlife Reserve. We had a little bit of a traffic jam, guys, so but don't worry about that, guys. I'll just do it.
Look, here's an animal already. A deer.
Hey, how?
He'll be on your side in just a minute. And it's goodness. Oh, is that your body?
No, let's go.
Alright, here we go.
Here we go.
Now straight ahead on the left-hand side, you had lots of really good guesses, but none of you actually got the animal. It is an antelope. Antelope was the closest. It's called a greater kudu. See, the kudu on that animal guide must be a male because it has spiral horns on its head. The female kudus don't have any horns on their
Look over this side.
The greater kudu is the second tallest of the forest antelope. They stand at around 55 inches at the shoulder.
I didn't see it.
Up here on the right-hand side, you might be able to find an okapi. It's kind of that tall brown animal with the stripes on its
Right
leg.
up here, you can't see it.
All the way back in that far left corner. They're too tucked back there to see them, but you might have caught a glimpse of them as we came around the corner. The funny thing is, the okapis are notorious for being shy. They weren't discovered by the Western world until 1901 because of how shy they are. The little white bird is called an ibis. They flew all the way here from Florida. There's a bongo really close to the road up ahead, and a black rhino. A black rhinos get up to 3,000 pounds. They're widely poached for their horns, which are only made of keratin. Keratin's the same stuff your hair and nails are made out of. They're not. It doesn't really serve a function to humans other than being hair and nails, so they're basically being poached for no reason.
Oh, look.
Humans are their only known predators.
Oh, wow. There's
He's taking a bite too.
They're gorgeous, aren't they? They're so pretty. I love their kind of rusty brown color. So bongos are also known as the ghosts of the forest because they like to spend their time under thick underbrush like this. Both their males and their females will grow those horns on their heads, and they slightly curve back, which allows them to get through the underbrush a lot faster. Very helpful, especially if they're being chased by predators.
Oh, look, there's another bongo.
Can you see him right there?
There's like 2 bongos over there.
I think we got really lucky with the animals in a tree. We're going to continue up towards the Safi River, see if we can find some hippos.
What's that?
I don't know. Just to see
The
how
trees
fast people are coming.
they prevent the animals from going into places where they might get hurt. Alright, so hippos, they spend a lot of time underwater. They can remain underneath the water for 8 minutes without even come up for a breath of air. But the funny thing is, they don't swim because they're too heavy, so they basically walk around the bottom of the river and up to the sides of the
Oh,
water.
I see one of those white things over there.
We might find some more hippos on the left for you guys who can't see too well. Here we go, there's a whole load of them back there.
See, they're under the water.
Oh, wow.
A group of hippos is called a float.
You can stand up.
Those are pink-backed pelicans.
Just for a second.
Pelicans get their name from a pink coloration they get in their back during mating season. Both their males and their females help to incubate their eggs, which remain incubated for only 30 days.
Look at all the birds, Jackson.
Oh, wow. It is
Oh yeah, there's a hippo down there in the water. You can see her walking. I think she's going to come up to the side. It's fish. We eat fish. So it smells fishy already. There is... Oh, nothing. Wait, maybe.
What?
Oh, nope, yep, there's Nile crocodiles down there. They're in the water.
Nile crocodile. We're not getting to see any of this stuff.
Nile crocodiles, the largest one recorded was 20 feet long. They can run at 10 miles an hour wildland. They like to spend a lot of their time inside and outside the water. And because of this, they have 2 different group names depending on where they're located. So we just saw a float. That means they were all in the water. But if they were all in the land, they'd be called a basque of Nile crocodiles. The females are very protective of their babies and even help their babies hatch from their eggs by rolling the eggs around in their mouths. So when they hatch, the mamas can carry them around until they're big enough to defend themselves. I think it's pretty cute. There's a baobab tree here on the right. Baobab trees are nicknamed the upside down trees because their branches remain leafless for 9 months out of the year. There's lots of water in that trunk there. And actually the baobab trees can be poked with like tusks or with tools, and the animals and the people that live in Africa will drink water from the baobab tree, which also gives it the nickname the tree of life.
Look, there's giraffes.
There are beside giraffes at the bottom of the hill here. There's springboks and wildebeest on the right as well. So we'll talk about the springboks first, and then we'll continue around the corner here and talk about every other one. Springboks on the far right. They are full grown at 3 feet tall and they need to 100 pounds, so they won't get
the
bigger than
babies
that.
are cute.
They get their names Springboks because they literally spring straight up in the air whenever they're frightened or overexcited. They're very fast too. They're actually in the top 10 percentile of fast animals in the world. The wildebeest, they migrate for hundreds of miles. A group of wildebeest can grow into the millions. They like big groups because there's security in numbers. Even at nighttime, will remain in their large groups by laying on the ground with spaces in between. That way they have room to hop up and run in case of an emergency. There are some Collie cattle over here on the right-hand side. They have very impressive horns on top of their heads. The Collie cattle horns get up to 5 or 6 feet long, and they're semi-hollow on the inside, so they're not very heavy. They're only about 10 pounds each. On the inside of their horns, they have a honeycomb-like structure of blood vessels. That's allowing blood to flow through their horns and helps to reduce their body temperature. It works like a radiator. These cows are the only domesticated animal that lives out on the reserve. But they're not used for their horns, meat, or milk like a normal farmer might use a cow for. These guys are just a sign of wealth, the same as like a dollar bill to them. They're very, very important to African culture. There's some wild dogs on the left-hand side. They might be napping underneath the bushes there. African wild dogs are led by 1 alpha male and 1 alpha female. Their 2 alphas breed together and they create the pack. And once their puppies are old enough, they make very successful hunters, even more so than some of the bigger cats. Their favorite way of hunting is by chasing around their prey until their prey can no longer continue to run and will just drop to the ground from exhaustion. And because of how vicious they are, unfortunately, wild dogs cannot be domesticated. Oh, please don't whistle at the animals, I appreciate it. There's some sable antelopes back here on the left. Sable antelopes are the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, so you might see lots of pictures of them in the queue for the safari. Their curved back horns get up to 3 to 4 feet long and are used for sparring and to ward off predators. A male sable can get up to 500 pounds full grown and will live to be 17 years old and more.
He's a close one. I'm telling you.
There was a giraffe over there. There's a tower that's around the corner here. We're going to see if we get a closer look. There are 7 subspecies of giraffe. The ones that live out in this reserve are called Maasai giraffes. They have a jagged edge to their spots. Looks like someone was coloring in the spots but didn't bother to keep in the lines. A male giraffe gets up to 20 feet tall and their babies are born at 6 feet. Tall enough to look a grown man right in the eye from birth. They only have 7 vertebrae in their neck, which is the same amount that a person has. Only their vertebrae are connected by a
coming up on your
joint,
side.
a lot like how your shoulder is connected to your arm, and that gives their necks that added flexibility. Giraffe tongues are 18 inches long and they're prehensile, so they use them like a hand to wrap around those branches that are too far away from their noses to reach. Their tongues are even long enough to reach in their ears to keep their ears clean.
Wow.
You do that, Jackson? You use your little giraffe.
There is a Patterson's eland. Oh, there's a couple of them over here. The Patterson's eland are the large tan animals out in the field to the right. They're the largest species of antelope in the world. Their males get up to 6 feet tall and 2,000 pounds, and will even have the ability to jump 6 to 8 feet straight up in the air from the standing position. 50% of the eland population is located on protected land just like this. Alright, time to make our way over towards Monkey Point. A personal favorite area of mine because sometimes find mandrills in the trees. It's also a good area to keep an eye out for a bull elephant. So we'll see if we can find him over here as well. The mandrill is the largest species of monkey in the world. They're famous for their brightly colored red and blue faces and pastel colored backgrounds. So as they come around the corner, you'll keep an eye out for them on the left. And then on the right side, there is the bull elephant. He's getting a drink of water from the watering hole down here. The male elephants break off from their herds with their mothers around the age of 13 to 15, and then will either choose to hang out solo or join a bachelor herd, but will only end up back with the females during mating season. Males usually hang out on the rocks in the middle there. The male's the one with the very, very brightly colored face. He's a little bit larger than the females as well. They spend their days eating things like fruits and leaves and even have special little pouches in their cheeks just for keeping those snacks for later. Now we're going to check over at the red clay pit, see if we can find some more elephants. See you later, big guy. We're going to let him have his drink. It's like our usual road is closed, most likely because there's an elephant over there. So we're just going to take the bridge over to the clay pits instead.
Yeah, I wonder where the clay pits are. I've never seen the clay pits.
The herd that lives over at the red clay pits is a family herd consisting of female and juvenile elephants. But both the males and the females have those gorgeous ivory tusks in the front of their mouths, which are often the reason why the elephant is, of course, poached. So organizations like Disney's Wildlife Conservation Fund have been working hard to help animals like elephants who've been dying off from excessive poaching and habitat loss. They do accept donations at some of the merchandise locations and restaurants around Animal Kingdom. So if you guys are interested in helping the animals too, I would definitely consider making a donation over there. Now it looks like there's lots of old tusk marks and footprints here in the clay, which is a very good sign of past elephant activity. Elephants enjoy eating the clay because it's going to give them extra vitamins and minerals that they probably wouldn't get from just eating regular vegetation alone. They will eat up to 300 pounds of vegetation every day. An elephant's favorite foods include grass, roots, and small trees. Let's head around towards the other watering hole. If you guys are just really interested in learning more about elephants in particular, I recommend heading back towards the village of Harambe and checking out the Animal Tours booth in front of the entrance for Safari. They have a tour called the Caring for Giants tour. It's only $30 a person. You get like an hour to an hour and a half, I believe, backstage learning how these animals in particular are taken care of here.
It only blooms
Definitely worth it. So check that out.
for 3 months a year. Isn't that wild? It only has, you know, leaves on it for 3 months a year. There's another one right there.
See, she's a lot smaller than everybody else.
See the baby? Look over here.
I think she's trying to climb up on that stuff.
See the baby elephant? We can't get
I
a
really
good...
see it. Oh, I see it now. Oh, a baby too.
Baby elephants are born at around 250 to 300 pounds. The gestation period for an elephant is roughly around 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. When the time gets pregnant with a boy.
There's a flamboyant and greater flamingos on the left. Now, greater flamingos are the tallest and lightest color of the flamingo species. And they get their pink coloration from eating a combination of brine shrimp and algae. It takes them about a year before that color appears in their feathers. Their babies, quotation marks, are the gray ones with the black feet. There's one actually being fed right there. So, still not old enough to have the pinkness in their feathers yet, but they're almost already full grown, which is pretty crazy. They were only born, like, I'm going to say a month or 2 ago.
Here, you'll see some up on this
So
rock.
the flamingos will eat a lot of shrimp, but even the adults won't get any pinker than this. As they get older, they have a tendency to lose the coloration of their feathers. Like when a person gets older, their hair starts to turn gray. There's a mud wallow over here, normally pretty popular with the animals. Animals enjoy rolling around in mud and having it cake up onto their skin. As it dries, it functions like a natural sunblock for them. It is also a pretty good bug repellent. I like to look for animals like white rhinos, zebras, cheetahs, and ostriches.
Oh, that was a zebra back there.
I'm sure we'll see it later. We're going to look for cheetahs up here on the left. Cheetahs are the fastest land mammal. They can run from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. They go after smaller prey like springboks and Thompson's gazelle, as they're faster and easier prey for a cheetah to catch. So if they were to come toe-to-toe with a lion or leopard, they'd almost always have to back away. They're not strong enough to take on that kind of muscle. They're built for speed, but not really for fighting. You gotta look all the ways back to where you can see the light coming from the trees. Right below it, there's a cheetah laying out. She looks like a little yellow log. During the daytime, it's definitely more difficult to see a cheetah because that's the point of their camouflage. They want to be able to hunt during the daytime. They even have the little black teardrop stains in the corner of their eyes, which is very helpful for them to see better during the day. And typically, they're going to go after small prey like springbok and Thompson's gazelle because they're faster and easier for a cheetah to catch. Though if they were to come toe-to-toe with a lion or leopard, almost always they'd need to back away. They're not strong enough to take on that kind of muscle. Cheetahs are real for speed, but not really for fighting. Kind of the opposite on the spectrum is the lion. Lions sleep or rest during the day for 20 hours, and then they become more active at night. They usually have their females find the food, and then the males stay behind. They protect the pride and make sure no other male lions try and take over their territory while they're away. To keep in contact with each other, a lion can emit a loud roar, and their roars can be heard from 5 miles away. See, look, we found the zebra again.
There's the zebra.
There might be more over in that area, so if we can't get a good look at her, we can always look for them again in just a second. The grand zebra is black with white stripes, and you can tell because of the color of their noses. No two zebras are the same. Their stripes are different, like a fingerprint, and that's how they tell each other apart. Now you guys might be able to see the lions if they're over here, but I definitely can't, so let me know if you see one. Usually like to hang out close to the rock up there, especially when it's really hot. Did you guys see anything?
No.
Maybe down closer in the far right corner, no? Alright, okay. I think they might be hiding. That's alright. No two safaris are ever the same. The animals definitely guarantee that. If you guys are hanging out until later on tonight, I recommend riding another safari at around 7 o'clock when the sun sets. That's because that's when they're a little bit more active. There's a warthog back here on the left. Warthogs are related to the domestic pig. Have razor-sharp tusks in the front of their mouth. They use their tusks as tools for self-defense. They also make great digging tools to make those burrows in the ground to live in. But in all honesty, a warthog will most likely steal a burrow from another animal because it's way easier than picking their own. You can see the zebras again. Those are ostrich eggs. Each one of those eggs is about 3 pounds. They're very strong. A grown man can stand right on top of an ostrich egg and it wouldn't hurt anything. Female ostriches like to lay their eggs in communal clutches. They can all help take care of their eggs together. So you see the group of zebras is called a dazzle. So there's a dazzle of zebras. Their ostriches are probably wandering around here somewhere. Ostriches actually lay eggs whether they're fertilized or not. So it's most likely those eggs there aren't fertilized. So they're not taking care of them. We're going to continue around the corner, see if we can find anybody in the Magadi Glen here. She's too far back now, guys. Sorry, friends. Maybe we'll talk about him next time. All right. Might be an animal over here. Yeah, there's 2 birds close to the water on the right. They're called yellow-billed storks. Yellow-billed storks have a wingspan of 3 feet and a life expectancy of 19 years. Their diet is comprised of mostly normal bird things like bugs, frogs, lizards, and snakes. Sometimes they eat small mammals, sometimes they eat other birds. It all depends on if they can catch them or not. They're opportunistic hunters, not too picky at all. Alright friends, we are officially starting to make our way out of the reserve. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the animals along the way, and of course if you didn't get enough animals, there's still plenty to see around the park. If you go to any map hole, they usually have white cards that say Animal Guide at the top, which will let you know what section of the park each animal is if you're looking for anybody in particular. If you're looking for an adventure that's close by, you can always head down the Gorilla Falls Trail. And along that trail you may find lowland gorillas. There are also naked mole rats, meerkats, there's a frog over there that is as big as your face, an aviary, some more zebras, and an underwater viewing of the hippos. Definitely check that out, Gorilla Falls Trail. As soon as you exit the truck, it's up the hill on the right-hand side next to stroller parking. Wilderness Explorers. The name of this truck is Simba 1. That's SIMBA and the number 1. That goes in on page 14 of your Wilderness Explorers hand guide. Collect your safari badge around the corner at the greenhouse. You can also get your African culture badge in that same location. But before you guys can do anything at all, I have to release you all back into the wild. This is the perfect opportunity for you guys to gather up all those personal items. Please remember, double check the rows as you exit the truck. It only takes 2 seconds to look over your shoulder, make sure nothing has fallen out of your pockets. You don't want to leave any free new expensive souvenirs for the next people riding the truck here today. And once again, my name is Jackie. It has been my pleasure driving you guys around the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. I'd like to thank you guys so much for choosing Kilimanjaro Safaris. I know you could have chosen anyone else, but you guys picked us. Because when it comes to safaris, we go wild. Rawr. Claw and friends, go well. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And care of Santa, you're very welcome.
Alright,
Stay
guys.
hydrated, friends. It is very hot outside.
Hi, guys. So, this should continue. End of our journey here. So, we're going to end this place right here. So, I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, please leave me a like, comment down here, subscribe for more about.
So did you see the cheetah?
No, we couldn't see him on our
We
side.
didn't. I didn't. It was watching all that. A little bit of brown spots, nothing much. And then it was the rest of the